recently there's been a lot of talk about Manchester City and their financial fair play and their dodginess with the money and etc, etc, etc. I was thinking about doing a video on it, kind of avoided it because everybody's had their take on it. But Talksport, it was, what's my man, Gabby Bonlahor, Ray Parler, and I forgot the lady's name. They were talking about whether players will leave if this is proved to be true, and if it's proved to be true, what will happen. Some people are speculating that they might get relegated. I don't think that anything will be resolved for a number of years. Anyway, let's get into the video.
How about we talk about Manchester City? That's how we'll start the show off. Because once again, listen, I think this is going to be a dominating news story for quite some time. And with these things, look, it will roll on and it may not be resolved very quickly. But for the moment, there is a lot coming out of Manchester City. So the club has called on the help of Lord Panic KC, which is kind of ironic,
Panic.
isn't it? He's the highest profile barrister in Britain.
What is it?
Now, the club begins its defence against these alleged breaches of financial regulations. So he's previously represented City when they overturned the Champions League ban imposed by UEFA, that one back in 2020. Remember that?
So he's the OG that got them off that on a technicality. I mean, from what I understand, it was a technicality, but that's just me just chatting. I ain't got the facts to hand, so.
If they're found guilty, the reigning Premier League champions, they could be booted out the league. I think that's worst case scenario. There are a few things in between there, obviously, that could
transfer embargo for sure.
Gabby, what was your reaction when you heard it? Because this is a big investigation.
I think when I first heard it, I was a bit shocked. You know, I thought surely clubs would be more clever with what they're doing, and you know, you can't get away with anything now in football. You know, the Premier League would have been on Man City doing their research on what they've done, and now they could end up starting next season with 14, 15 points deduction. You've seen this season happen to Juventus in Serie A. They lost points, now they probably...
Yeah, but in Serie A, they act quick. If they catch you slipping, doing madness, they act quick. We don't do that. We go through all these procedural processes, all this bureaucracy, all these ways of stalling. Then we try to take it to the Court of Arbitration for Sport, get appeals. I remember when City got the first, they had a ban from Europe, from UEFA. They had a big fine. And then this guy, the OG that they hired, he got done some magic, got the ban taken away. And I think they only paid like 10 mil. And I think initially it was like 50 mil or 30 mil they were fined. I'm not sure. So it shows you the difference because they're not playing over there in Italy.
You won't qualify for the Champions League. But I think speaking to Arsenal fans that I know, and used to Arsenal fans as well, would you rather Man City lost points this season? Would you rather Arsenal win it without any...
Nah.
I genuinely...
Don't take it.
I don't care either way because if they did lose points...
Listen, when my team Liverpool hadn't won the league, I would take it however it came. And I think Arsenal the same. So I don't blame them.
It's because they've done something wrong and they've benefited from that. And I don't care if it's this season. People say, oh, it happened historically. A club will benefit from winning things, and if they've done that from the wrong channels, then the money's come into the system
100%.
and they've benefited from that throughout the rest of the years.
Laura Woods, that's the name.
To me, it wouldn't be a case it's a big if Arsenal went on to win the league and City got points deducted this season, which I don't think will happen. That will be what has to happen.
Though. It can't be money. I don't want to see £50 million fine. I don't want to see that because they'll pay that, you know, out of their wallet. I want to see like points deduction, and maybe if it takes a few months to go through, then start of next season they start on minus. I think
the only punishment that would really hurt them is points and a transfer embargo. So they can't buy some players like what happened to Chelsea for a couple of windows. That will help people catch up or have an advantage in the transfer windows where they can get certain players, because City can't do that. And if they have the points deduction, then it would really punish them where they can't use their money to get out of the situation. So that's really the only way you can really hurt a team or club that's really successful and got lots of money. You can't, this money thing, there's so much money in the Premier League now that all that means to them, if you find them 50 mil, is that they can't buy one player that season or that window. They'll just wait until the next window the following season. And they got a good enough squad to cope with that for in the meantime.
The teams more devastated will be the ones who come second when they've won the league and where they broke the rules and said, well, we should have won the league that year then probably.
The Chelsea,
we abided by the rules and they haven't, and we would have probably won that league that year. This year it's a little bit different because you still got games to play, but you can't change the history of what's happened.
They need to make a statement as well, don't they, in the Premier League, so that other clubs don't.
But this will rumble on for quite a while.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a big, long court cases to be, and obviously Man City have gone straight in and get the best man they can get.
I think he's on 150 grand.
The best man money can buy. Money's no option. Get us off.
Weak, isn't he?
But does that go into the spreadsheet as well?
He's on 80 grand a day, which is more than some of the players.
80 grand a day. This is the OG. This is the guy that break glass in case of emergency. This is the guy you wake up in the middle of the night because he gets it done. 80 grand a day. Where'd you get that from?
I think someone mentioned that about the spreadsheet. There's these are wages go into
Kevin
it
De
as well.
Bruyne would be going in for a new deal, wouldn't he? He'd want more money. He'd be like, the lawyer's getting paid more than me.
You told me. I'm the.
Tell me what panic's on. Get me panic's wages.
Yeah.
Actually,
what he's getting?
it's $5,000 an hour. Is that close to what you charge us?
No, divide that by 10.
Still quite a lot.
$5,000 an hour.
You should have said 20.
That's what I meant.
50 grand a day.
They obviously, if they're going to bring in a big lawyer like this, look, they're taking it seriously, and all the journalists are saying, look, this is mastered, this is unprecedented. Like you say, Ray, I think it'll take.
I
a while.
don't think it affect the players though. The players have still got so much to
Don't
play
you?
for this season.
What about Pep though? What about Pep? Because you've seen his quotes about if he's found guilty,
if
I
they
will
lie
walk.
to him.
Well, he's nothing to do with it, is he? I mean, I know
No,
that he's
it's
put the
nothing to
players
do.
in.
It's nothing to do with the players or the manager. They have no control over these kinds of things. Pep, when he made that statement, has obviously had a meeting way back in May or before that, last year, where he's asked them, "What's going on? Is this true?" Da 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 da. They've assured him, "No, it's all good. We're gonna sort this out. There's nothing wrong here. We promise we won't do that to you, Pep, because we love you, and you're the best there is." I'm not sure if he would just walk away, but if it's a situation where they get relegated or he's up against it, 15 points off or something, he might consider leaving because they lied, if he thinks they lied, or it's just an environment he doesn't want to be in anymore because it's just got, what's that word everyone's using, toxic. So
Whatever, but he trusted.
Yeah,
he trusted the
people
guys
above him,
to say, well, we can afford it, we can do it, we can do this deal, we can do that deal. So it's not down to Pep Guardiola.
But I know what you're saying there, Gabs, because he's basically said, look, if they are lying to me and if something is wrong, this was before, right? This was the previous allegations.
Yeah.
And he would say, I'm out.
Yeah, but he's not going to be out now, is he? Because it's going to take ages to go through, and there'll be
Well,
appeals, there'll be this,
say Ray start
this
the season, say pre-season, and they're found guilty. I think Pep would walk.
Maybe then,
Yeah.
but he's still
Not
got
now.
he's got 18 games to go,
Yes,
and he's
of
still
course.
got a chance of winning the Premier League. They've got 2 games against Arsenal still. If they beat Arsenal twice, then they're
But imagine
big favourites to win the Premier League.
Imagine worst case scenario for you, pair, and Manchester United win the league, and it hasn't.
Don't
gone
try and
it
get back
hasn't
into
gone
Man
through there.
United.
No, but it hasn't. No, but it
You
hasn't
wanna
gone.
get back in
If
the
it
good
hasn't gone through, then
of Man United fans.
Arsenal fans are going to be saying, and Man United fans are going to be saying, like, why haven't they lost points? Why hasn't it gone through before the end of the season? It's the worst case they won it.
Can I ask?
Well,
As
the
a
worst
all
thing
that.
for people, sorry, Laura,
Yeah.
is that if they don't get deducted points this season, then they're going to be in the Champions League next year, and then someone's going to miss out on the Champions League, maybe.
Yeah,
Potentially.
that's mad.
And allegedly, we have to say about all of this as
Allegedly,
well.
of
because we
course.
just have to wait to see
Allegedly.
what happens, really. I just wondered what it meant for the landscape of players. Ray doesn't think it will affect players wanting to join, but if I were a young player and I'm about to make my big move, should I be concerned about these allegations?
I think it could affect some players, but I just think Manchester City, they're going to pay the wages. You know, you got Pep Guardiola there. But you're right, Laura. I feel that it's going to be on your mind. Like, I could sign in the summer and then a couple months later, points deduction. You know, Pep Guardiola could leave.
Yeah, if you're a young player, going to sign for Man City with this hanging over the club, don't cry about it after you've signed. Don't cry about it when you sign a big contract and you're getting big money and you know this is a possibility in the worst case. Sign with all of that in mind, or don't sign with all of that in mind. But I don't want to hear no players crying about how they want to leave, or just write a clause in it. Say, if there is a points deduction, this is how much I can leave for, and make it reasonable. We'll make it for the same fee that you joined for, or a little bit less. Because if they're saying they're innocent to you, beyond the shadow of doubt, join us, we're going to be dominating for years, then they should have no problem putting that into your contract. But I know what's going to happen. These players are going to sign, they don't care, they're going to take the 150 grand a week, and then something's going to happen. If something happens, they're going to cry about being trapped at the club, wanting to leave, not being happy, as these players do. They want the money up front, but they don't want to deal with anything negative on the back end. Nah. Anybody going into this situation knows up front what it could be.
Will that affect someone like Jude Bellingham wanting to go to Manchester City? It's a valid point.
What about?
It's all a bit. Look, it's all ifs, isn't it?
Yeah.
You don't know what's going to happen.
It's all ifs.
They could get cleared of all the, and everybody moves on.
What about the current players that are watching all of this play out? Is that going to get in your mind?
Nah.
I don't think so. No, I think the current players will be thinking, I'm just going to concentrate on my football. And then if this does happen and they do get...
I think the players will only care, just like at Chelsea when the whole stuff was going on with Abramovich, if it starts to affect wages or transfers or anything that they do on a day-to-day, anything way above is above their pay grade. It's like a business problem, not a sporting problem. It's only when those two areas cross over and meet is when the players will start to have something to say or something to worry about.
Get point deduction or relegated at worst case scenario, or Pep leaves, then some of the players have big decisions to make, won't they?
Yep.
If they want to leave and go somewhere else. But at the moment, no, you concentrate on your football, don't you?
Absolutely.
Yeah, I say the same thing. It's like with when Juventus got relegated because of the match fixing, that's when the players had a decision to make. And they did. Most of them decided to stay and get the club back up into the top league and winning the top league again. So, you know, I'm not sure. I don't think they'll get relegated though. That's the thing. I just don't think it. I just don't think we make so much money in this Premier League, that we don't want to hurt our league by doing really massive things like that. But at the same time, if all these rumours, if the threat of like the government coming in and regulating the football industry because we can't regulate it properly ourselves is a real thing, then they might have to make a big show of, you know, we can sort our own problems out. We got all these regulations in place and everybody abides by it, and anybody that doesn't do it, this is the punishment. So yeah, we'll see what happens. Thanks for watching the video.